ShortMeTina once again from ShortMeTina.com with my nightly recap. We are going to kick it off with the overall market. Let's start with the S&P 500. As usual, typical daily chart. This time is dating back to 2018, but let's focus in on price action. I guess we can start when the initial sell-off began in mid-October, right? We experienced highs, again, back in September, October, north of 300, right? North of 300. We had this break here back in mid-October. Continuous decline, sideways action, then we kind of puked or sold off, right? Hit December lows of around 234, and since then we've managed to bounce and rally. I think we're off about, I want to say anywhere from 10 to 14% from the low. So that's a strong move in a relatively short period of time. We closed today at 257.59, slightly off less than 1% on the day. But if you notice, for the past 4 or 5 days, we've actually been trading, in my opinion, sideways, right? Which, by the way, I think would be good. Again, I don't particularly like V-shaped rallies. I don't think they're sustainable. However, after this bounce, if we can just move sideways for a bit, then resume the uptrend, then I'd be a lot more convinced than if we just trended all the way up. At any rate, we're running into resistance, or we ran into resistance here of around 260. We didn't quite get there, but we got to like 259. What was the high? 259.16, which in my opinion is close enough. So we're off a little bit from that 260 point. However, 260 clearly is representative of resistance. So just going forward, we're going to be paying to that 260 mark. Will we be able to, after it's in my opinion, it's digesting this move up, which I think the likelihood of us continuing 260 is all the more better. But time will tell. For me, I believe, you know what, we're not going to talk about what I believe. Let's just pay attention to the chart. 260, that is resistance. So right now we're having a bit of troubles penetrating that level. What else do we have? IWM, similar story. You have the V shape, a few days of sideways action. We closed at 142.25. We're off about 1% on the Russell, but again, we're running into that 145, 146 resistance level. For things to get going, we need to kind of trade above that, because then we would be back in the channel that we've established since late 2017, which is good. That bodes well for the bulls. What else do we have? All right, ticker AMRN daily chart. Just when I thought that this was going to actually break down and fill this gap here of around $3, we managed to actually pop up, and currently how we closed at $17.12. We're off about 5% on the day. However, this is a very interesting candle here with confirming volume. So right now I'm going to remain neutral based on the chart. And we're just going to have to see whether or not we can continue trending up, or if we're going to roll over. The last two days worth of trading activity, actually let's say the last 3 days, it looks like a bull flag might be forming. However, it's not complete in my opinion. So time will tell. Put ticker AMRN on your radar. All right, GE, long way to go, but short-term price action seems relatively promising in my opinion. So we still continue to make attempts at sort of breaching that let's say that 950 resistance level, rounding bottom, right? A bullish pattern that I love to trade, short term anyway. A short-term rounding bottom that started in November, took about 2 months to complete. Today we went as high as $9, and we've experienced $9 before within the past few trading days. On January 8th, if you notice, we went as high as $9.04. Pulled back slightly to $8.90. What we really need, in my opinion, is a really strong move above that 950 resistance, and for it to be sustained. If that can happen, I would be looking to pick shares up on the pullback. Again, I am relatively bullish on ticker GE. What else do we have? All right, let me see if I can draw it for you. Short-term cup and handle, in my opinion, it broke out. Let me see if I can do this for you. Right? It's not the best looking cup and handle, but you get it, right? Cup, handle, breakout. We're up about 13% on the day, went as high as 1738, pulled back to 701. things is getting really interesting. Put ticker NBEV on your radar. If this can be sustained, this stock looks like it wants to rally. I'm personally looking to trade it myself. What else do we have? All right, ticker Roku, ROKU. Well, the ticker is the chart. The company is Roku. The ticker is ROKU, which I guess can be pronounced Roku as well, right? Anyway, so daily chart dating back to when the stock IPO'd. Let's just zoom in on price action. Let's say late December, because in my opinion, that was the opportunity to go long. Bounced off a resistance like we did in April of 2018, that let's say that 26, 27 level, bounced off a resistance, support. Bounced off a support in April, then we did it again in December. Looks like a bull flag might be setting up, although we're off about 0.28% on the day to close at 39.46. Put Roku on your radar. It is actually looking like as though it's setting up as well for a bullish move, but I wouldn't buy here. Again, put things in your favor, wait until it gets to support. What else do we have? All right, ticker SGYP. We're up about north of 7% on the day, and that's really great. We're sitting here at 21 cents, but for me, for things to start to get going, we definitely need to, in my opinion, breach 30 cents. Once we breach 30 cents, then I'm an onlooker, not necessarily a buyer because I don't particularly like to trade penny stocks. However, I would be an onlooker, although again, we're up about 7% to close at 21 cents. For me, we really need to pass this short-term resistance of around 30 cents for things to get going. What else do we have? In GSM, daily charts, similar story. We're off about 3%, similar to the SGYP, the chart that I just analyzed. We're running into resistance. We need to get above there and hold, right? Because that would confirm that there are buyers, that they're stepping in, that they're penetrating a major level. So until that happens, until we can penetrate resistance of around, let's say, 240, I'm paying attention for the purposes of doing the video, but I'm not paying attention in terms of being a buyer. It needs to get above 240. If it does, there is a gap to be filled here in the low fours, so you're looking at a potential double. Continue to monitor ticker GSM. What else do we have? All right, ticker BPMX. I am not as lively as I need to be. All right, let's see if I can get it going. All right, ticker BPMX. So we're off about a little over 4% on the day. Closed at 11 cents. Again, I've done several videos on ticker BPMX. And essentially, for me, it is a good buy above support. So support, for the most part, was about 10 cents dating back to 2017. However, with the overall correction that occurred, or the swift sell-off that occurred in December, we managed to breach to that support level, although we ended up rallying and now we're above that. So for me, if you want to go long from a risk reward perspective, the best area to take that long would be around 10 cents. It seems as though you might get yourself an opportunity, but also bear in mind that with ticker BPMX, rallies are not necessarily sustained. So keep that in mind. What else do we have? All right, ticker MARA, sitting here at 38 cents, off about 2.5% on the day. Cannot get a break. So for me, the stock is not a long. I'm not going to advocate shorting because it is a penny stock. But for those of you that are still stuck, your cue to loosen up or let go occurred back in August of 2018 when we broke that major support level of around $1. Once that occurred, and although we made attempts later that month, back in August of 2018, to reclaim those levels, they were unsuccessful. When that happens, when a stock breaches support and cannot reclaim, that is your cue to either let go, lighten up, or go short. Sitting here at 38 cents, we have a ways to go before we can, before I would even consider this a buy, in my opinion. What else? All right, ticker RWLK, daily chart. So while I was bullish a few days ago, when the stock closed relatively close to the day's high, and it seems as though it wanted to penetrate resistance, I am turning slightly bearish. We closed at about 23 cents, off about 5% on the day. And based on this candle here, it looks like tomorrow, this week, it looks like we're going to retest today's level around 19 cents and potentially break. If that happens, the next level of support comes in at around 16 cents. If you are long, remain cautious. What else do we have? All right, ticker HMNY, daily chart. So again, I did several videos on ticker HMNY. There's a lot. So in my opinion, there are more quality stocks out there that you can be trading outside of ticker HMNY. However, if you insist on trading it, in my opinion, I've identified a range dating back to around September. So it's, it's relatively reliable considering it's been trading within this range since September, October, November, December, January. So that's around 4 months, right? At any rate, so for me, to put things in your odds or in your favor, you don't want to play the middle. So all of this is the middle here. You want to play these levels, like what occurred back in September or what most recently occurred in late December. You want to play those ranges, or you want to play that area because that is support. Once the stock gets there, you want to buy it. So support is around a penny. Once the stock gets there, you want to pick it up because then chances are you'll get that overshoot to around 2 cents, as you've seen, again, since dating back to September. So that's kind of all I have to say on ticker HMNY. What else? All right, ticker PCG off well over 52%. Intense, man. That is a huge sell-off. But this is why it's super important, no matter what stock you're in or no matter what you trade, you definitely pay attention to sizing, right? The amount of monies that you're allocating to any one position. Now, if you're conservative, like, most professional traders are, and you only allocate about 3 to 5% of your entire portfolio, while this 50% is a hit, it's not a huge hit, right? Or it's not a significant hit where it would throw your portfolio off. However, if you're like a lot of newer traders and you don't understand the mechanisms behind position sizing and the sorts, and if, PCG was about 50 or 60% of your entire portfolio, so for example, if your entire portfolio was around $20,000 and PCG occupied around $14,000 of that, then you took a huge hit because out of that 20,000, you've now lost, 7,000 or so. So again, this is sort of a testimony to why I preach about position sizing and allocation. It's super, super important for situations like this that you just can't really anticipate. At any rate, sitting here at 838, off about 52% on the day. The low was, the low was 778, so we're off a little bit from the lows. Clearly it was a sell-off confirming volume, but you might actually get a bounce here considering we're off about 52%. Might be a little bit overdone in the shorter term. What else do we have? All right, ticker CGC, Canopy Growth. Full disclaimer, full disclosure. We did take a position in Canopy Growth via the Toronto Stock Exchange, ticker WEED. I have been bullish on the overall marijuana space, in particular Canopy Growth and a few others, since 2017. Sitting here 42.49, we're up about 11% on the day. It's looking like it wants to at least, at minimum, retest the most recent October highs of 59.25. I wouldn't be surprised if we got there towards the ending of this month or by February. Again, put CGC on your watch list if you have not. I wouldn't chase here. Chasing is never good, but wait for an opportunity. I think this is a good stock to hold on to long term. What else do we have? All right, Snap. So we're well off those lows back in December of 482, which is good. We're up about 2 points from there. Again, this V-shaped rally that I'm not a huge fan of. Ideally, for me, the ideal situation, I think, for anyone looking to go long, I wait until after earnings. That's just my thing. Let's see what happens during earnings. But for me, ticker SNAP, the best scenario, in my opinion, would be an earnings sell-off to retest that low of around 482 or get close there. Then I potentially would go long because you might have a double bottom on your hands. This is going to reward people immensely, richly, for those that can actually stomach whatever is going on right now and hold. Spoke with my daughter, my teenager, and she reaffirms Snapchat is not dead. It is still a mode of communication for teens. Remain bullish on Snapchat. What else is there? All right, ticker BIOC daily chart. Huge runner, up about 140% on the day. Where was I for ticker BIOC? Oh, that's right. I'm not a huge fan of penny stocks. But we closed at 220, so be careful at these levels. I'm not saying it's not a buy. This actually might be a stock that will continue to run. For me, that's really dependent or contingent on whether or not it can retest and sustain today's high of around $3. Well, we went as high as $2.99, but let's just say round it out and call it $3. So we ran into resistance, we pulled back, closed at 220 again. I'd be very mindful of jumping in here. You have to ensure that this rally is going to be sustained, and for me, that has not been confirmed as of yet. So going into tomorrow, you might want to wait before jumping in. That's just my opinion. There's the real potential to get burned here, considering the stock is already up 140% on the day. What else do we have? All right, ticker ACB again. Daily chart, I've been bullish. Nice bounce off of those December 24th lows of around 458. We penetrated, well, a couple of things. One, we held support of around 5, so that's good. Second thing is that we were able to penetrate on volume short-term resistance of around, let's say, 6 to 650. That's also good. We're sitting here at 678, up about 6% on the day. For me, what I see is this trying or making attempts to at least get to around $8. So I still think there's a degree of upside. I wouldn't jump in here at 678. Again, wait for the pullback. What else do we have? All right, WFT, consolidation, right? So we hit a low back in December of around, let's say, 25 cents. Consolidated or traded range bound for about a few days. We shot up and we're trading range bound again here. Likely scenario, what it's looking like is that the stock seems to want to penetrate this most recent high of around 58 cents. Sitting here at 44 cents, I think that's a real possibility. And I think 75 cents is actually achievable based on price action. If you're into these kind of stocks, put WFT on your radar. What else? All right, AMD. You guys know my views on AMD. While I am bullish in the longer term, in the shorter term, there seems to be weakness. Again, the rallies are not sustained. Sitting here at 2018, again, we just cannot seem to penetrate that 2250, 23 level. Once that happens and we can hold the conversation changes. For now, again, I am going to remain bearish in the shorter term. Sitting here at 2018, we just can't sustain those rallies. I'm expecting a trip back to around that 1415 level. What else do we have? All right, ticker TSLA. For me, sitting here at 333, Tesla remains in a trading range. Trade the range until it breaks out in either level, either to the upside or to the downside. That range, we can say, comes in anywhere from 280, which is representative of support. We've held 280 for quite some time, outside of these little hiccups here, right? So again, we've held 280 for quite some time, and we have not been able to penetrate August highs of around 387. We made an attempt most recently back in December, couldn't do it, kind of caved back a little bit, still held that 280 high, still held that 280 support level though. So again, sitting here at 333, not trying to play the middle, either play it once it breaks to the upside or breaks to the downside. So that's it. Let's cap it there. ShortMeTina from ShortMeTina.com. If you enjoyed any portion of this video, do two things for me. One, head on over to my YouTube page at ShortMeTina, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. I do videos every single day. This ensures that you do not miss any. Then head on over to ShortMeTina.com, sign up, become a member. Thank you for listening, and as always, thanks for the support.